Hello, good morning, folks. Today I'm changing my oil on my Lexus GX460, and I'm going to be replacing my oil drain bolt. Every time I change my oil at 5,000 miles, I have to keep loosening this up and buying a brand new crush washer. But every time I remove this, I'm dealing with very, very hot oil, and when I don't even know when the very last thread is when I unscrew this, and I get really anxious with a lot of anxiety, and I end up dropping this into the into the oil drain pan, right? So I don't like this idea. I've been doing a lot of research to get rid of this drain bolt from my oil drain pan. So there's a replacement innovation that was online that I noticed. I saw other GX owners use it's called a Fumoto engine oil drain valve, and it's pretty cool. What it does is it replaces your original OEM bolt, and how it replaces this OEM bolt is it uses this valve. You pretty much screw it in where your other bolt goes, where you removed, right? And there's a little lever right here that's spring loaded and it's locked in place. So every time you want to open up your valve to change your oil, all you have to do is lift up and then turn it clockwise, and oil will spill out of here. And when you're done, all you have to do is push the lever back counterclockwise to lock it in place, right? It can't get loose. This is almost impossible to get loose unless you do a karate chop kick off it, you know, but this locks it up and it closes the valve. If you look inside, there's a hole right there, if you notice, right? It's closed right now. If I open up this spring-loaded lever, turn it clockwise, it opens up the valve inside there. See that valve inside there? Now this is closed, okay? And they also have an extra safety precaution measure right here. It's also a lock clip. So once you're done locking this in, you can push this clip in there, and it locks the lever so it can't move, right? No matter what you do to it. You go over a little rock or something, try to knock this out, it doesn't move. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you how to install this. It's really easy. One side has an O-ring and the other side doesn't have an O-ring. This only goes in one way. You can't install it this way. It just doesn't fit. So remember, the O-ring and the O-ring, this O-ring goes on the side that doesn't have an O-ring, and it slips right over, just like that. I want to start screwing before I push this all the way in. I want to start screwing this down and tighten this. And what I do to tighten this is I have to use a number 10 hex bolt. You can hand tighten it in with a 17 millimeter right here socket, but once you get down to the torquing part of it, you have to use a number 10 hex bolt, and it's at 15 foot-pounds. Okay, 15 foot-pounds. Okay, it tells me I don't have to use a crush washer or anything, so I don't have to keep replacing my washer. All I have to do is just install this in there and we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay guys, I'm underneath my car right now facing the driver's side. Okay, the driver's side is that way, and here is my oil pan, right? And I already removed the bolt, right? It's got some oil on there already. I'm going to wipe it off a little bit. You don't want to wipe it completely. You want some of the oil to get onto the O-ring to get a really good seal, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the O-ring side, right, and I'm going to face it towards the oil pan. I'm going to get some of this oil on there, right? I got some oil from my oil pan I already drained. I'm going to put it on there so it doesn't get cut, right? I'm going to get some oil to also put on my O-ring right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the valve and I'm going to take the bolt and I'm going to stick it through the side that doesn't have the O-ring. Okay, it's going to go right in there, and then I'm going to hand tighten, always hand tighten right in there. See, hand tighten, there you go. And tighten. The good thing about this is you could turn it 360 degrees. You could turn it anywhere you want. You can make this very accessible to where you want to drain the oil. Okay, I would like to face my exit hole to the passenger side, only because you have a big, if you go underneath your car and you take off this guard, the guard actually has a door. The door is facing this way, and once you take off the door, it's from tire to tire. You take off the door, you're going to have a lot of access for this to come out this way. So I always face my exit hole going towards the passenger side. Okay. You can actually take another step. They do sell clear plastic tubes you could connect to here, and it's a tube, and you can direct it to anywhere you want. You could even change your oil and put it into a, I don't know, a plastic canister with a small opening if you don't have an oil drain bucket or anything, right? So let's go ahead. I'm going to face it this way while I hand tighten this. Just like that. Now I'm going to torque it to 15 foot-pounds. That's what the Fumoto website said for this particular valve. Remember, this particular valve is a 103SX. 103SX is the newest one in the family of valves because it allows you to turn this 360 degrees. The older models are fixed positions. I wanted one where I could just move the position just in case, trial and error, just in case the oil doesn't spill in the direction that I want it to once I put my plate back up. That's the only way to really find out. So I'd rather spend a little bit more money and buy the newest family of valves. Okay, there you go. Click. There you go. 15 foot-pounds. Okay, so right now my valve is closed, right? So no oil is going to spill out. But if I want oil to spill out, all I have to do is flip the switch and point it down, and oil will start pouring out. Okay, when I want the oil to stop pouring out, all I do is flip it back, just like that. And remember, you have this blue clip right here that locks into place as a safety measure, so nothing hits this clip, nothing hits this lever. See right there? Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so I can go ahead and fill my engine up with oil right now. Okay, so this is how you install it, and I hope you guys check this out and try it for yourself. You might like it. Okay, if you're one of those people that change their oil every single time like I do, this is such a convenience. Push the lever, pull the lever, oil comes out, lock the lever, and go fill up your engine with oil, and you're done. None of this having to go buy washers every single time and dropping your bolt into your drain bucket and stuff like that. So just remember, number 10 hex bolt, okay, and 15 foot-pound torque wrench, 15 foot-pound torque wrench, and you're good to go. Very simple. All right. I forgot to add, if you guys want to change the position of your valve after you're done, if you don't like the position that you put in when you torqued it, you can always move it with your torque wrench. See, like this, just move it where you want it and hold it right there as your backup wrench. It's at 17 millimeter backup wrench, and then you take your number 10 hex again with 15 foot-pounds, you torque it with your backup wrench where it's supposed to be, and you just click it in place, just like that. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. I put all my protective covers back on. This metal plate, I put it all back on. If you notice, if you look at where the Fumoto valve is, it sits completely out of the way of this cover that normally comes off whenever somebody does the oil change. See this cover? It doesn't even hit or anything. There's a lot of clearance between the bottom of this valve to the plate. I'm talking about maybe 2 inches worth of clearance. You got about this much worth of clearance, even though you can't really see the depth perception from this video, but there's a lot of clearance. So I wouldn't worry about anything hitting this valve, and plus you got this cover on. But just for the sake of this install, this is my very first install of this Fumoto valve, so I don't trust it yet. I'm going to leave the cover off and I'm going to drive it around for a little bit and raise up the car and check for any leaks, just to make sure everything's good to go before I do a permanent install back here. But if you notice, the reason why I pointed this to the passenger side is because of the shape of this cover. So I have a lot of clearance. If I were to do an oil change, the oil would splatter this way. So I have a lot of opening right here for the oil to pass without hitting this and splashing this. The oil would just start dripping down right here, okay? But you can go ahead and take it a step further and buy a plastic tube and connect it to this nipple and just bring it down here, right? Just buy a plastic tube that would fit this opening right here. You can also take it another step further and buy a plastic nipple cover and just plug it up in here if you're worried about any oil drips or anything that might happen if you didn't do a good seal, or you didn't push this lever back where it's supposed to be. Okay, so I would every oil change I would go back here and just take a look, or in between oil changes, or you know, for the very first month or so I would check every week to make sure there's no leaks. Okay, after a week or so, and after you're confident that this valve is not creating any leaks or anything, then I would go ahead and put the cover back on and proceed with driving until your next oil change. Okay, I'm very excited to go drive around and check this out. Okay, thank you.